So in the previous video, we made some quick and simple adjustments to the content of both the add-ons homepage and the Foundry detail page to help describe the content on the page to search engine bots. In this video, we'll take it a step further and start looking at how we can update things like image alt tags and start adding some more keywords to other parts of the pages to help improve our overall SEO score. So firstly, let's start on the add-ons homepage, and I'm going to again disable the styles for this page. I'm then also going to disable the images for this page. Now we can start to see what the search engine bots are really seeing, because as I say, they won't be indexing the images or seeing the images in the same way as humans can. So what we want to do is describe those images to the search engine bots. So to do that, let's go to RapidWeaver, and we'll be on the add-ons homepage. And if we go to our add-ons list here, what we'll want to do is add a descriptive image alt tag. So you can do that inside of Foundry if you're using the image stack, in the stack settings area, and specifically in the alt tag area here. So in this example, we would want to say this is the depth RapidWeaver add-on icon. Now you could also just say simply the depth icon, or you could say the depth stack by Nick Cates, like so. It's all going to depend on the keywords that you're targeting. For the RapidWeaver community site, the most important keywords would be the add-on name and then perhaps the type. So the depth stack for RapidWeaver, because obviously RapidWeaver is a keyword that we want to target. So we've got 3 of our keywords in there. So you're going to have a play around with the content on your site and have a think about the keywords that you want to include here. What you don't want to do is simply stuff this with keywords that don't make sense. You still want to describe the content in a meaningful way or in a natural way, as if someone were to come along and read this. If we were to try and stuff this with keywords, we might do something like this. The depth RapidWeaver stack for RapidWeaver is a stack by Nick Cates design, for example. This isn't going to give you any gains. The search engine bots are going to recognize that you're starting to keyword stuff on your site, and you're going to get penalized for that. So it's always key to remember that whenever you're updating any of the content on your site, to do it in a natural way, but to also obviously try to include your keywords or your keyword phrases. So as I say, for this example, we would probably say something like the depth stack icon for RapidWeaver by Nick Cates design. I might remove the Nick Cates design. It would just depend on if I were trying to target those keywords. That's probably not one of the keywords that I'm trying to target, so I would actually probably delete that. So again, I'd probably do the same for the Foundry icon. I'd simply say the Foundry stack icon for RapidWeaver, like so. Now you'll want to do this for all of the images on your site. Now it's going to depend on the add-ons that you're using for RapidWeaver. As I say, in this example, I'm using Foundry, so you can control the alt tag inside of the stack settings. This works similarly for Foundation. You can also add alt tags for things like banner images. You can do that directly inside of the page inspector here. So if you add a custom banner to your theme, you can add the alt tag here. You can do that site-wide in the general settings. You can add a logo alt, so we'd probably want to do that. We'd say RapidWeaver community logo. You can then also add, if you did a custom banner site-wide, add the alt text inside of here. So as I say, the alt text just describes the image to the search engine bots. So next up, let's talk about links. If we go back to Safari and refresh our page, you can see now with the images disabled, we get more of a text content on the page. So we have these links at the top, and then we have our main title, the add-ons, subtitle, and then we have more information for each one of these links. Now they all say the same thing, and they don't describe the content that you'll find when you click on this link. So wherever possible, you should be describing the content inside of each one of your links. Only do this if it makes sense, but you will see some positive effects if you start, as I say, using keywords and describing the content on the page that you're linking to. This just builds up a picture to search engines that your site is reliable, and it's also linking to relevant content. You're also getting more of the keywords that you want to be found for in the page content. So in this example, let's go back to RapidWeaver. What we might want to do is go in and update each one of these buttons. So I would go to the stack settings, and I would change the link text to something like more about depth for RapidWeaver, like so. Now if we go back and refresh our page, again without the styles applied, this is describing what the user is going to find when they click on this link. Now one thing to note here is that if we were to enable the styles again, and I'll also enable the images, this obviously doesn't look very good. This button text is too long and it looks rather out of place. So what I've actually done on the RapidWeaver community site, if we actually go and look at the live site now, and we scroll down, you'll see I have a list of most popular add-ons, and then I just have the entire card as the link. So if I were to very quickly disable the styles here, and we scroll down, you'll see that the entire card is a link. So when search engines are indexing this, they know that when they follow this link, they should find out more about Alloy, the Instagram Vista stack, Scroller Plus, and so on. So I've made the entire card a link rather than having a separate link inside of the card. Now, depending on the content that you have for your site is going to depend on how you design this content. Again, these are just examples. I'm trying to show you that there is more than one way to do this. This way works perfectly well. You could also do it in the same way like this, where you have a title, some information, and then a descriptive link below that. Both work well. It depends on the content on your site and how you want to build up the overall picture. For me, on the live site, I decided that having just the add-on name was sufficient. I have the other keywords that I want to be found for sprinkled throughout the remainder of the content. I don't need to start keyword stuffing RapidWeaver and stacks or the add-on developer name inside of each one of these links. As you can see here, if we go up, we have RapidWeaver add-ons and video tutorials in the page title. We have a browse add-ons link or a learn RapidWeaver link, so I'm starting to get my keywords at the top of the page. I didn't feel that I needed to, as I say, keyword stuff RapidWeaver or stacks or themes or anything inside of each one of these cards. But again, it depends on the content of your site. Okay, having said that, the next thing you can do to help describe these links to search engines is to add the title attribute. Now this is not displayed on the actual content of your site. What it is when you hover over a link and you leave your mouse there for a couple of seconds, you'll see that title pop up there. And as you can see, I filled it with stacks by Your Head Software. So I've tried to get a couple of keywords into the title for each one of these links. So I've got the add-on name and then the company name after that. So that also describes the content that you're going to find on the page. So we're saying this is Foundation by Joe Workman. That's what you're going to see when you click on this link. So let's have a look at how we do that on our add-ons page here on our site. I'm going to add a couple of links to the top of the page. So to do that, let's go back to RapidWeaver and we'll go up to the paragraph inside of the banner, and I'm going to add a browse. I'm going to add a link of find more add-ons, like so. So I'll type the text in, highlight it, and select the link option here. Then I will just link off to the stacks page. There you can see RapidWeaver will fill the title with the page name, but that's not very descriptive. So we might want to say something like find more stacks for RapidWeaver. So we might want to say something like find more stacks for RapidWeaver. You can set the link, and what I probably want to do is update this text. Let's say find RapidWeaver stacks, like so. Okay, if we go back and refresh our page, there we can see we're starting to add some more metadata and some more keyword friendly content into our page. So again, here we can see we can link off to find the RapidWeaver stacks, and I've added those keywords also to the title. One common mistake I see on RapidWeaver sites is that they don't add the keywords to the links like I've done so here. What I will often see is that users do something like this. They will just put in stacks and then perhaps themes and plugins like so. And these would just link off to individual pages. So again, we'll just link this to the stacks page for now. We'll set the link, and I'll do the same for plugins. So this is a common mistake that I'll see. If we go back to Safari and refresh, what they'll do is they'll just have links to the pages with one word, or they might even have something like, if it's below, they might have something like a read more link. If it's a blog, something like this, it'll just simply say read more. Now, in some cases that is appropriate. You will literally want to say read more about this. In most cases, I'm going to suggest that you want to be more descriptive, and as I said earlier, describe and give an expectation of what the content is going to be when they click on this link. Stacks and themes are okay. You probably want to add a couple of keywords, as I mentioned. Say something more like find more stacks, or search for stacks, or responsive themes, something like that. Just a couple more keywords that you want to be found for, or a couple more associated keywords for your content. Read more, that doesn't really say much. It doesn't tell you what you're going to find on that page. Sure, you're going to find a blog post, for example, but perhaps you could get some of the keywords from the blog post title into the read more link. Again, I keep saying this, but it is going to depend on your site's content. You're going to need to make a decision on what works best and what makes sense for the content on your site. If we go back to the live RapidWeaver community site and scroll up to the top, you can see what I've done here is added a title with some of the keywords and describing the content on the page. And then what I've got is two buttons below that. One that says browse add-ons and the other one says learn RapidWeaver. So these are keywords that I'm targeting, and also they're giving you an expectation of what to find. You know, when you click on browse add-ons, you're going to be able to find more add-ons for RapidWeaver, and you know when you click on learn RapidWeaver, you're going to be able to learn more about RapidWeaver, or you're going to be able to view the video tutorials. Okay, one final thing I want to cover before we move on to the next video is content ordering. So for that, I'm going to just turn on the styles very quickly, and I'm going to go to the Foundry information page. And here you can see the ordering of the content visually. Now we've got the title, description, and icon at the top. Then we've got our gallery below. Then we've got the add-on description, and we've got a sidebar here with more information and a buy now link. Now the key phrase I used was the visual order of the content. This doesn't have to be the same as the HTML order of the content. Now why is this important? Well, because search engines will put more weight on the content and the keywords that are higher up in the page. So what you can do is change the content ordering visually, but have the underlying HTML be more SEO friendly. So let me try and demonstrate that to you now. If we turn off the styles, so disable styles from the menu, there you can see we have the header area, then we have our gallery below that, then we have the description, and then we have the buy now section in the sidebar with the developer information card. So that follows very neatly with the visual ordering of the content. However, if it makes sense for your site, you might want to have the sidebar content actually before the add-on description in the HTML. So if you're using Foundry, you can do this by selecting the column stack and then ensuring that the customized column settings is enabled here. Then if we scroll down to the desktop custom column settings, we can choose the ordering option here. Then what I want to select is the offset option, and I'm going to increase this by 4 columns. So I'm matching the column to width here. So I'm pushing this over by 4 columns. Then what I want to do is change the ordering of the second column width to pull it over to the right by 8 columns, like so. Now if we were to go back and preview, so we'll refresh our page, you can now see that the sidebar is displayed on the left and the main content or the description is on the right hand side. In the HTML, if we disable the styles, the content is in a different order. The description comes first and the sidebar comes second. So if you wanted the sidebar content to be displayed first in the HTML, you'd obviously add that into the first Foundry column, and then you would add the description in the second. But you can then control the display ordering of the content via the custom settings inside of Foundry. So hopefully that makes sense. Essentially what you're doing is changing the display of the content when the styles are enabled, but having the underlying HTML order different. And this is because content that is higher up in the HTML will influence your ranking inside of search engine results pages. So that's a bit more of an advanced feature, but it is something to keep in mind. The display of the content doesn't have to be tied to your HTML. Okay, before we move on to the next video, let's tidy up a couple of quick bits. I think I can leave that for now. I think I'll leave the ordering for now. However, this is a little bit wordy, so we'll go back and we will say Foundry RapidWeaver stack information, like so. I'm also going to use some custom font sizes. So here I'm going to set these all to be 18. I'm still going to leave this as a subtitle though, because I want that to rank higher in my HTML. So I'll go back and refresh. And I think that looks fine. We could perhaps add a little bit more margin to the bottom. So we'll add, let's say 20 pixels, like so. Okay, that's fine. And also I think this title now looks a little bit large. So if we come up here, we can also do some custom font sizes. Let's set this to be 26 maybe, and refresh. And actually we'll increase that a little bit, let's say 30 on each one of these. Like so, that looks better. And let's go to the add-ons homepage and just check out what we're looking like and check out how we're looking. So for now, I'm actually going to get rid of these links. That was just an example, and I'm going to change that back as well. So we're on the home page. Let's go into here and remove those. And we'll go to our add-ons list. And we will change the button text back to more info, like so. Okay, now we're looking quite good. Okay, so hopefully over the last couple of videos you've started to grasp what SEO friendly content is all about. Essentially what you're trying to do is use your keywords inside of the content to help describe what the user can find when they visit your page. You want to do this in a hierarchical manner, so adding H1 tags at the top with some descriptive text, and then dividing each sub-content section using an H2 tag, and then any content inside of there that requires a heading, you can use an H3 tag. Then you want to also try and include your keywords and describe your content inside of links. So as I mentioned, rather than using just more info, you'd want to describe the content that the user is going to find on that page. You also need to add metadata like image alt tags and link titles to help describe the content to search engine bots. If you do all of this and you slowly chip away at your content, you'll start to build up a picture of the type of content that can be found on your site. This isn't a quick fix. You'll need to plan and think about the content on your site and start implementing these tips one by one and just chipping away at your content and improving it over time. Having said that, in the next video, we'll keep chipping away at this website, improving the SEO, and specifically start looking at some SEO techniques to help improve your overall site ranking.